Have you ever been in a position where you feel like you're building something that you really shouldn't be building anymore? Or you're in a position that you should have left maybe a while ago, but you're still there and it's beginning to feel uneasy? Or maybe you feel like you're wearing shoes that no longer fit. You know how you've gained weight, and sometimes even your shoes will start to hurt in places that they didn't hurt before. Well, in today's episode, we're going to talk about changes, really massive changes, and how you should know if you're supposed to continue building what you're building or if maybe it is even time to move on. And I have some really big questions for you at the end of the episode so that you can assess for yourself whether you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So, welcome to the Go Bigger podcast. My name is Kome, and today's episode is one that is a bit uncomfortable for me because it's really allowing me take you behind the scenes and talk to you about some really massive changes that I've had in my life and in my business very recently. So if you subscribe to my newsletter already, if you're on my mailing list, you would know this already. But basically, a few weeks ago, I shut down my biggest, most lucrative coaching programs. One of them is my How to Sell on Amazon program, and the second one is my How to Sell Digital Products program. And a lot of people would have thought that maybe I shut them down because they weren't doing well, but absolutely the contrary is the case because these were my two most lucrative, best performing programs. And the reason I shut them down was maybe surprise you. But if you're subscribed, you already heard the gist. I think I did a little bit of explanation about why I shut them down. But the behind the scenes basically is I shut down those programs because I knew that it was time to let them go. And before you start to ask me, well, how did you know? Let me explain what I mean. So, about a couple of years ago, something happened where my friends and I, my family and I went through a big loss. And I think that that experience got me thinking about what was important to me and made me start to have this view of my business and myself of, okay, let me understand where I'm going and basically make sure that I'm building the business that I really want to build. And I know it sounds very interesting, but by the time I went through my structure, my business, I started to feel a bit uneasy. I started to feel like I had built programs that I thoroughly enjoyed and I knew that they got people results and they gave transformation. But I wasn't sure that I was building the future that felt good to me anymore. And so I started to pray about it. And the more I prayed and I meditated and I considered the programs and the business that I had at the time, the more I felt like God was telling me to shut down those programs. And as you can imagine, I hesitated because I thought maybe it's my mind. Maybe it's just fear, like different things. I put different reasons in the place of why God might be asking me to shut down those programs and redirect my business. Anyway, it has taken a lot of time, but around the beginning of 2025, I started to revisit the situation again. And I realized that over the past year, even more had shifted where the things that used to bring me joy in the business and the kind of clients I used to be excited to see winning and helping, I didn't feel the joy anymore. I think that was the first wake up call for me to really realize that, okay, it's not just that I felt a bit of unease. It was now that it was beginning to impact the way I actually felt. Like I was beginning to see that the joy I had before I didn't have. And then it continued to get even deeper. So the second thing that happened was I had some big deals that came my way, some massive clients that I would normally have jumped at because it was good money, because they were the type of clientele that I'd prayed for whiles ago. But then I realized that I actually turned down some of those opportunities and the money didn't sway me. And so I realized that not only was I in a place where I wouldn't normally say no, but I was okay with saying no. And I think the third thing that really started to show me that I needed to build something, or I needed to be in a different area, was I started to have this deep yearning for a different kind of clients and a different sort of business structure. Now, I'm not trying to get you, like, I'm not trying to make this wholly spiritual, but I think that each of us go through situations in our lives where we perhaps start to perceive that it's time to move on. And I think in this case, it was time to move on. Now, I cannot exactly tell you what I'm going to be building, how it's going to look. I do have some ideas, but I think the first thing for me was to let those things go, let those programs go, so that I could have space for new things to come in. Okay, this episode is not all about me and my business, it's also about you. And so these are the questions I have for you today. I feel like as we start to get into deeper and deeper into the second part of the year, it's easy for us to forget the sort of the goals that we had when we came into the year, and also to stop assessing where we are in our lives and in our life's journey. So here is question one for you. And I think you need to approach these questions with a lot of depth and honesty if you're going to get anything out of them. So the first question really is, are you building what you're supposed to be building now? Or are you in a state where you should have left because you are comfortable there? And I want to explain, just a little bit. I remember someone came to me recently and she said to me that where she is right now in her business, people resonate with it. Like, she's talking to moms and she's talking to women, and a lot of the people that are in her audience get her, and she loves that they get her. But she has this thing in her heart where she feels like even though these people accept her, they're not exactly the right fit for where her business is going to. And she has a different group of people in mind that she's supposed to be serving. And the only reason she hasn't transitioned is because these people that she's already serving love her. They welcome her, they adore her. And she feels comfortable talking to them because she feels like she speaks their language. And not just that, it's a place where she has spent so long that now it feels so painful and so uncomfortable if she was to leave that place and start to build something else. And sometimes it's even a job, right? Some people are in jobs that they love, but then they feel like, maybe I don't love it the way I used to love it before. What's your own situation? Are you in a place that you are beginning to feel like I should have moved on from here? I'm not supposed to be here. The only reason I'm still here is because I'm so comfortable. The second question that I have for you is, if money was taken off the table entirely, would you still do the thing that you are doing right now? Meaning that if you didn't need this thing for money, whether it's a job, whether it's a business, would you still do the same thing that you are doing today? I know it's such a difficult question to answer, especially because we obviously live in a world where we have bills to pay, we have families that need us, we have expenses that need to get sorted out, maybe every single month. But if you can turn your mind away from that need of income and finances, are you building what you need to be building? Or are you only there for money? I'm going to be very honest with you guys, because that's the whole point of being here. If no honesty and transparency, like, what's the whole point? When I shut down those two programs in my business, I felt the pinch, and I'm still feeling it now, because those were my two highest income earners. And in fact, I went a step further and canceled every single member in my membership program. and just stopped debiting them. And when I was doing it, I thought to myself, how are you able to do this? And I just realized that being comfortable with income, it didn't excite me. But being uncomfortable and knowing that I have a date with destiny was actually exciting. I'm in the process of rebuilding and rediscovering where exactly I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be building for this season. So let me ask you, what are you supposed to be building for this season if income wasn't part of it? I think the third thing that I need to ask you is, given the option between a date with destiny and a very comfortable space, what would you choose? And I have a feeling that I can guess what you will choose. I think that the people that are in my audience are people who are excited about destiny. They're excited about doing exactly what they are on earth to do. And if that's you, I know that that question is very simple for you. Would you rather choose destiny or would you rather choose comfort? Now, if all of the questions that I've asked you, the three questions I've asked you, made you to think that perhaps you're supposed to be moving in a different direction, I want you to please put yourself in a position where you can actually spell out what it is that feels uncomfortable about where you are. And also admit to yourself that you want something else. You want bigger. You want better. You want destiny. And you want to be in a place where you feel completely at peace, knowing that what is coming is definitely better than what you've let go. I don't know if this episode has been interesting for you. I hope it has. I hope it has communicated something with you. But more importantly, I hope that it is setting you up for an even bigger few weeks and months to come. If you enjoyed it, if it communicated or resonated with you, go ahead and leave me a comment. I would love to hear your thoughts. By the way, the link to join my newsletter, the expansion letter, is somewhere in the comment section. I would love to keep you up to date with all the things happening, and I'll see you in the next one.